Yes, music. Right. Let's get started. How are you doing?
Right. I'm all right. Nervous because anxiety,
Okay.
but
Well, let me know if
it'll
it's.
get better it'll get better as we go along.
Yeah, probably. It's one of those things you don't really want to
Yeah.
think about it, and then just you and me. We're just chatting about your account and about what you're doing in Maple, and well, you could talk a little bit about what you're trying to achieve with your character, with your gameplay.
Well, I mean, eventually, I think this is my main. Uh, Eventually, I want to get to like Black Mage and all the higher end stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely taking my own pace with it. I'm not trying to like super rush it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it's been nice. Because I started back when the game was still fresh. I got introduced back in 2004, and then I started really playing in about 2006,
Mm-hmm.
and then on and off. Unfortunately, I lost my first account.
Oh yeah.
I guess when they swapped from emails uh to usernames and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So
You can never get it back.
this account, uh, I have no idea. I gave up on it.
Okay. Probably
But
compared to what you have now, there's probably
oh
like
no,
barely
God,
anything
it's
on it.
so far back,
Yeah.
so far back.
Hmm.
But no, just I've been watching you for over a year now, and really
Hmm.
started back right before Destiny. Uh, I was like, I want to replay an MMO. I know Maple, so I
Hmm.
came back, mained Cannon Master, used that first Hyperburn, and it was nice. I could definitely feel like the shortcomings. It's probably also the Hyperburn, and then during Haste, I played the Bowmaster and got it to fifth job, and I was like, oh, so good.
Yeah. So you found a
Just
character that you liked way more, fit your playstyle more.
yeah,
Hmm.
just it was just the melting of monsters when in the full burst and all that.
Hmm.
And I haven't hyperburned this character. It's been a I've used like mag pots and level pots and all that
Hmm.
every now and then, but this is like a full grinded character. So
Gotcha.
it's definitely feels so much better than a hyperburn.
Yeah, it's a very different level of progression. Plus, you have a more, I think, a realistic look at how quickly you can move through the phases.
Hmm.
Yeah, people who start Hyperburn, it always feels really good. You get go really fast. You get a bunch of free stuff, and then, but then every other character you need to do in your account that's not that just feels so slow compared to it. And then
Yeah.
yeah, it's a rude awakening a lot of times. All right, so this is your class. You saw the sixth job, and you're like, even more arrows. That looks good.
Hmm.
Just what I want. Okay. So we're
Oh
sticking
yeah.
with this one, and then within your account, you've got the cannoneer probably, and then some other characters you have some
Yeah.
progress on.
Yeah, I got Cannon Master is 250. Hero was the Savior Hyperburn.
Hmm.
Uh I've kind of been making the Dawn Warrior as like a pseudo like boss mule, but I haven't put a whole lot of effort into it.
Hmm.
Just use the Cannon Master and Hero as like boss mules.
Gotcha.
Kali is just kind of there.
Because of the free levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how when just one event can get it to pass a bunch of characters that are way older just because free stuff. Okay. And when you were like thinking about like a little bit more in the meta of like where you spend your time, is it just like for the Canadier and the hero, it's just weekly bosses and that's it? Or
Yeah.
what I like to focus on a lot is like what phase of the game or what kind of content do you want to have available to you with every character in the game? Is it really just you're really just focusing on the Bowmaster and everything else? You know, if it could do some bosses around its level, or if it gets some level potions, or you know, if it, I guess one character you're looking at to hyper burn, would you think about doing the Dawn Warrior, or is there another character you had in mind?
That's I've been hyper just pretty much focusing on the Bowmaster. Uh I've essentially just relegated the Cannon Master and Hero to boss mule.
Mm-hmm.
And then just slowly been then putting a little bit here and there into the Dawn Warrior. When I get the 6 job nodes, I'm gonna definitely spend them, spread them out over some boss mules, throw it
Mm-hmm.
into my new Hyperburn. I'm gonna do Thunderbreaker.
Okay.
I know it's not the greatest class as far as like boss mules go, and that's what it will be
Mm-hmm.
essentially. But it's just been fun when I was Legion grinding all my characters. Uh,
Gotcha.
it it was just fun dashing around everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get
So,
the 2 fast punches if you're strong enough. You just like zoop zoop zoop,
hmm
zooming. Is that guy 200 or are you making? Oh, here,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yep,
Gotcha. He's got the perma outfit. He's got the beautiful hat.
yep,
All right. These are all
yeah.
set
Got
to go.
him. I gave him the legendary emblem.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got. I think he's sitting on
Some event
a
rings maybe with some
secondary.
scrolls.
Uh, no, I don't have any event rings on him
Mm-hmm.
because the ring event was before when I started working on it.
Oh,
But
gotcha. Okay.
I got them spread out over some of my top ones. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These the 4 or 5 there up top. Okay.
hmm
All right. And well, of course, you've been watching my stream, and you've probably seen some of these
yep.
sessions as well as a result. So
hmm
I guess we can get any kind of specific foundational questions if you have any of those like out of the way, if you have any, or with any commands.
Uh, for the most part, I know the majority of your commands.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I definitely try to use them. This has definitely been this is I've been trying to follow along that the progression guide and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But and so this is kind of like just more like an overview, like how am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
So that way I know where I should put my focus moving forward.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there are no actual like specific in-depth questions for any mechanics in the games. More like,
Not
what are my
really.
options here, and then what would you advise, and then you just pick one and go with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're slowly working on your. Well, I guess I'll just go through screenshots real quick. Key bindings. Yeah, I went over all of this with my mom because she was like struggling to figure out what's going on. I had to remove a bunch of her keys in like the top left of the keyboard because otherwise, yeah, there's not much you can do there. So you got a bunch of your stuff over there. So you mainly, you get your hands a little bit higher up on the keyboard, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, so like jump is where my ring finger goes. I have blink on G, hurricane on B, and then arrow stream on D, and so that's where my hand naturally sits.
Your ring finger
Uh,
is jump. Oh, okay.
on jump.
So your pinky's doing like a whole lot of work.
Yeah, it I got big hands, so I can reach out to S and A, and then I'll like when I go for like burst, I'll probably end up moving my hand around up there, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can still reach F with my pointer finger if I need to
Exactly.
hit
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just boom, 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 and then
Kind of like
top
transition.
row, bottom row.
Yeah. Okay.
6 will be for the Saren skill. T is bind.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And you're familiar with the new age stuff with the key combination thing?
Yeah,
Yep.
I do know
I guess you
that
have
it's
Z
coming.
available.
I'll definitely have to. Yeah, I haven't found anything for Z yet. Um,
Could be that one. Yeah.
with with uh with the changes to
Yep.
with that extra little key, I can definitely put all my buffs on there.
Mm-hmm.
Then that just opens up the top part for like origin skills,
Yep.
more the
Yeah, the
decent
common
skills,
skills
stuff
that we
like
don't
that.
know. We don't know yet what they're going to be, but
Yeah, definitely.
hopefully we'll get some of that in the winter update for Korea. So, but it seems like your right hand is doing like very little then, right? Do you like pot with your right hand or?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
gotcha.
reach over, control
Yeah.
with my pointer, with my right pointer finger. Shift for is my basic buffs, sharp eyes,
Right. Okay.
uh, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maple Warrior.
Because a lot of people use
MP
the like insert through page down kind of right for the buffs and stuff. But if you've got
Mm-hmm.
everything on the left side,
There's so much for freaking Bowmaster. It's
yeah,
all buff. There's not enough space.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I've relegated that to chat and then
Mm-hmm.
familiars.
Yeah. So your left hand is doing most of the work.
Yeah.
Very very dexterous, or well, I guess the opposite side dexter would be right, I think, but whatever. Okay, but no issues there. You got some room. We got okay. That's all going well.
It was a lot worse. I can tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I, there was a video. I don't know if it was linked in this chat or if it just popped up on my YouTube. Someone was talking about uh, key space and moving stuff that you just really aren't using anymore. Just get it off of there.
Mm-hmm.
And I reevaluated. I was like, yeah, I don't really need like the mini map. I used to
Mm-hmm.
have pickup on G and to use that for my
Mm-hmm.
middle finger, but it's like I have
Yeah, it's.
pets. I'm gonna have a vac
Mm-hmm.
pet. Like very rarely am I gonna need pickup, and I can just reach over with my right pinky to insert on the zero
Yeah, I should
numpad,
get used to that, but.
which is so there's the pickup there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Definitely, yeah.
mhm. And then everything else is just stuff that I always use. So
Yeah, and the less useful stuff is more like on the right side of the
hmm
letters and all the punctuation stuff, because that's for both of your hands. That's the furthest away, so that's kind of like the dead
yeah.
zone.
hmm
That's more that I'm standing still and need to check something. That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. So your traits are coming along nicely as well. So I guess you're just working on the empathy a little bit. Yeah, willpower is not that important. I guess willpower gives you a little bit of progress, but it's maybe those top three, right? Ambition, empathy,
hmm
insight.
Yep.
So I was looking a little bit to, if you get extra items and stuff like that, like start moving them over to the bossing mules to get them a little bit of progress. Do you feel like you're doing that as well now with the like the cubes and the flames and the stuff you're getting? Because I'm
Yeah.
expecting most of that will just mess up your
Yeah.
main character.
Yeah. I mean, all the hard cubes are pretty useless because everything's legendary. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been pushing them to the Dawn Warrior. I've been pushing them to the Thunderbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, every now and then, if I want to try something for like the hero, I think he could still use a little bit of extra work.
Mm-hmm.
I throw him on there. It's just whatever I'm feeling.
Like some 9s and some 12s on unique stuff, or
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
Okay. All right, and you got some familiars here. Yeah, no huge hitters just yet. Like, I mean, the large drop, I guess it's good.
I did get the large drop, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think the best one out of all of them is that top left one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 30% IED and large HP
And large HP, yeah, that's definitely
per
nice.
ally, so
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, it's
definitely
a good
keep that
double.
one on.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That's
I
a good
swap
dex,
between
yeah.
if I'm like if we're doing something that I don't need healing familiars, I put the attack dex on.
Mm-hmm.
Will and we've my guild has started pushing into Vihela, so
Mm-hmm.
I have the healing familiars there for it.
Gotcha, yeah. Your guild,
Mm-hmm.
which is Argyle.
Nightwish.
Oh, okay. Night. Wait, Nightlight.
It's
It says
not.
here.
Oh, Nightlight. My bad. Nightwish is
Yeah.
the man.
Oops.
uh,
Yep.
but no. Big shout out to the guild leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely been a big help in helping us with progression with bosses.
Nice, nice. And Nightwish is
So,
that's a band, I think, right?
hmm
We had them in the playlist a bit as well.
oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so well, I guess that's one of the questions that some people have is like, what do you do with familiars, especially when New Age comes out and Six Shop comes out and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been debating using this downtime for familiars, but it's like I really just kind of want to take a break. I pushed a little hard during Night Troop. I didn't go too crazy, but I definitely got from, I think it was about 261 up to 265. So
Yeah, it's
I
plenty.
was like, oh yeah, I'm way higher than I thought I'd ever be.
Hmm.
So feels lit, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's a yeah. Ideally, it's a good time to take a like step back and then take some more time to just get a bunch of familiars. You can kind of very lazy train, right,
Oh
with the
yeah, the arrow
Bowmaster.
platter. The
Mm-hmm.
arrow platter's so free.
Set up some arrow platters and then, but yeah, if you're just not feeling like doing that, yeah, there's no pressure there. Of course, there's got to be quite a bit of pressure probably working towards the sixth. Although I don't know how bad that's going to be. We'll see if we get like the split maps, if you get the private spawn,
Hmm.
or if you could just kind of chill. We'll see how busy it gets. I imagine pretty busy, but that'll be depending on how active everyone's coming back, how many people are going to jump onto the new server. We'll have to see all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's an in between situation. You're actually in a better situation, I guess, than my Demon Avenger is. I'm just thinking of like characters that are R250 or possibly the Hyperburn, just any characters that I might want to get to 6 job eventually, and then
Hmm.
that'll happen by training in areas where familiars do drop. So eventually there'll be familiars coming in. But yeah, that's also kind of like my backup thing. Like, there's a lot of potential damage from there. How am I going to sort that in with all the other stuff that I want to be doing?
Yeah, because I'm gonna take the Magpot uh from the Fairy Bros, and then the 6 free ones. I'm gonna put them onto my Cannon Master. Try to kind of push it to 255,
Mm-hmm.
and then there in Limina, I can definitely see myself coming back to it and taking the time
Mm-hmm.
to kind of train it, push it up to 260, and then get all the extra familiars. So
Yeah, you're able to transfer like Fact Pet as well, right?
yeah,
And if you do hero
yeah.
as well, so that's good extra
Hmm.
value. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's like a little bit of a backup plan depending on how desperate
Yeah.
you're feeling. I mean, yeah, if you throw it into a calculator, like it looks horrible, of course, getting those boss lines. But if you look at it compared to all the upgrades you could be making, and we'll get into it in a bit, of course, but you're going to be backup gated to various extents there. Then it is
That's for
something you
right
could be
now.
doing. You could be doing technically at any time, versus the other things just being having some kind of wall there that could stop you from being able to make that progress.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's about where I'm at. It's that mid game to mid transitioning to late game
Mm-hmm.
wall.
Somewhat, yeah, yeah.
So.
Well, the current one in the current stage, yeah, you're like approaching that, but it's going to be shifting forward a bit. But it is
Hmm.
definitely a choice. Well, or like something where you have to make a decision. We'll definitely see also the progression that you make when it comes to all of the new dailies, right, and the EXP per dailies, and if that's fast enough for you, but you do want to grind, then it's a matter of
Hmm.
just like grinding for familiars. And if you don't really want to grind extra, but the 6 job progress isn't fast enough, and then you go on the main, then you might not have as much time for familiars. So it'll just depend on activity, like the availability of maps, and what you feel
Yeah.
up to at that time. But I got plenty of options. There's never a
Oh yeah, there's always something to do.
Yep, it's never a dull moment for sure with this game. And if there ever is, then just start a new account, and then there's go again.
Ugh.
There's never done.
God, it's been one hell of a ride getting all the way up to 8K Legion. I am not ready to do that again.
No, you don't. You don't feel like just starting all over. 8.3. Yeah, no, 8.5, 9K. There's still some goals. Although at this
Yeah, I've
point
got a.
you almost just want to just crank out to 50s, right? That'll be more efficient than really looking at trying to get your overall level up.
Hmm.
Because you always just get one character, right? So even if you get 8.5, you get one more square. But if you make one character that's not 250 into a 250, then you also get one more square. So at this point, that's more efficient.
Yeah, I've got. I'm definitely waiting for the food freezer events, stuff
Mhm.
like that for in New Age. Push up the last few characters. I think I'm up to like 32 level 200s now, so push those final 10 to 12 up to 200.
Mhm.
I'll have 8.5k Legion at that point.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you can fill that last little square in the. Is this part of crit rate or is that part of bonus EXP?
crit rate. Yeah, it's crit rate.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, because it cuts out at the bottom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the good thing about an archer is putting points into crit rate isn't that bad. Like sure it'd probably be a bit more efficient putting them into attack and stuff like that, but it makes it easier. I can just throw a couple from XP down into crit rate if I need a Legion Mule to have some more crit rate.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to make like 16 presets and keep shuffling. Yeah, that takes.
I was doing that pre-8K, and
yeah.
Oh,
Now you don't have to anymore.
I
Thank
think I
God.
had 4. I think I was running 4 at one point. It was awful.
Yeah, I'm running 4, but yeah, it's because bossing mules.
But yeah,
once you start extending that, then
you also have the mages.
exactly.
It
Yeah.
does require their own new thing.
Yep. Way more flat int ones and different priorities and buff duration stuff. Then you kind of want to make an extra setup. But yeah, that's only if you have enough time between the weeks and stuff to build up. I was always like, hashtag no farm, not farming. But now because of I was bossing. But now with bossing mules, now they kind of got me into farming without me even realizing it. Now I'm just like farming Meso by doing bosses, and it feels like, hey, wait a minute, you guys played me.
Gotcha.
So yeah, exactly, they got me. So maybe it is time for a little bit of a shift, because I do feel like a lot of time is getting eaten up by those boss mules and by that like FOMO for the crystals. Because when you can finish off all the crystals and get decent value for them, it does feel like you're losing out on a bunch of money every week if you don't. So that is something that I have to like look into as well. But you're not near the 180 mark, right? So you're not really feeling that too much.
Like, it's hard enough getting myself to do the 2. Most of the time, like I'm on vacation this week, but for the most part, I'm usually only getting about 3 to 5 hours a day. So when I've been trying to just focus on the Bowmaster, getting it up to a high enough point that it's like, okay, now I can take a break from it. It's taking the time out for other boss mules. It's like it feels like you're losing out, especially during Night Troop with all the XP. It's just like you need to focus, and then now it's like, okay, I can take a break. I have a lot of free time right now. Let me run these boss mules because I've been slacking on it.
Yeah, you just, depending on the time available, you shift your priorities. I think that makes total sense. And events as well, right? Events will shake up what priorities make sense for your account. It'll just change the value of the hours that you have. So it's always a good thing to not be super attached to any individual thing and be able to switch over if an event pops up and gives you that opportunity. I guess here we have, which is still a county. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to assume that most of this stuff, when it comes to link skills and everything, that's all sorted out. You do have the dreadnought, so you've been printing dineros.
Yep. I think once I do dailies today, I think I'll technically have enough dineros for a second pendant. I got lucky. Took, I think, 5 days to transpose to the Sweetwater pendant. So now I can just focus on getting the dineros, waiting for an event, and then I can try pushing that up to 1921, and then have a really good one, because I'm not anywhere super close to doing C10. Like I've done a duo, a hard Damien duo.
Mm-hmm.
Could probably really close to probably like solo H Lotus, or I know I can definitely do the duo if I had a strong enough partner. Um, that's the other thing I think. With New Age, I might be right there at the cusp of being able to solo hard Lotus
Mm-hmm.
post New Age with the
Yeah,
Origin
I
and
expect you to
buffed
be.
Hurricane
Yeah. Because
and
you're at
Prage for the
30.
continuous ring.
Yeah. That'll benefit you a lot. Because right now you're just running regular Star Force rings.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sitting with Maple Warrior. I'm sitting at 38k that, and then
Mm-hmm. Goddess Blessing.
with the God Watts blessing, that's
Yeah.
jumps all the way to 43.
Yeah, that gives a big boost. On a Cannoneer, it's even more, right? Because you got like the Goddess Blessing, and then
Hmm.
the flag, and the Monkey Magic, and then suddenly you pull like 8,000 stat out of your ass or something. You're like really,
Yeah,
really
I was
inflated.
uh I was sitting here making that little picture.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the first time I ever really saw all my fully self buff stats, and I was like, 166 crit damage. Good God.
Yep.
Vicious shot putting in work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got 150 crit rate. Yeah. Yeah, and that's also why it's a you do want to look at that point, when you're trying to min-max your glove and stuff like that, you do want to look into,
Hmm.
like, what am I really aiming for? Because for a lot of people, it's like, oh, double crit damage your glove. But there are outs for archers that are better than double crit damage,
Hmm.
and that, like if you can hit like 8% crit damage and 20 stat, that's basically the same already. So that might be a good one to save. If you hit 23, that's, for most situations, that's actually better than double crit damage. Because the next step after that is double crit damage and the line of stat, which is of course significantly more expensive.
Mm,
And depending on other projects that you're working on, you might want to hold off on that for a little bit, and so you can
yeah.
always circle back later, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
for
I've got.
bossing, soloing, you're doing
I can
um
go all the way up to normal dark now.
normal dark. Oh, okay, yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I can
then
definitely do that.
for all the
Um,
normals, right? And then for the hard ones,
I have not done normal Vihilla. I think we were trying to push that in party,
okay.
and I think definitely we should be able to get it post
Mm-hmm.
New Age.
Okay.
Uh, but I'll probably give it a try solo, see
Mm-hmm.
what I can do. Doing hard, lucid, normal will in party. Um, our party is a
Nuking it
little
probably.
too. It we do nuke it. It's just working on the tests.
Okay,
Like
gotcha. Yeah.
I've pretty much got it down. A lot of the other people have gotten it down, but it
Mm-hmm.
definitely gets like one or two people kind of ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, you want to be really
So,
on normal. You want to be super tight that there's actually like just
mhm,
nothing that possibly can go wrong, and then you want to move on too hard if you want to stay with that same party. Yeah, don't move on too
yeah.
quickly if it's not. Yeah, if it's not on point yet for normal, that's definitely a good
Hmm.
strat.
Yeah, and that I don't trust our party with hard
Mm-hmm.
at where we are currently.
Okay. And when it comes to let's look at like normal slime, because then like sea slime would be kind of like on the level. It's always like a little bit above like hard will, of course, but then you get into like sea gloom and stuff, right? And I
Hmm.
think mainly with the 6th job and level damage differences, blah blah blah. There should be a big jump immediately.
Hmm.
For people, of course, a huge six
Yeah,
minute.
we've done Sea Gloom in party.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it was because we run on Fridays. It was last Friday. I finally survived
Mm-hmm.
uh to actually beat it because I mean, surprisingly to me, I've kind of been I've turned into the main damage dealer for our party, or at least a big chunk of it. I've just been trying to work on hands,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah, it helps a lot for
but getting
damage if
better.
you're not dying or not always
Yeah.
just jumping around and dodging, right? When you get better at dodging, you can squeeze in way more damage, and then often that'll increase your damage more than an upgrade here and there ever can.
Yeah, it's mostly darkness. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get hit with a reverse, you go one way, now you're stuck in hands, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to just get tilted.
Yeah, you want to preemptively
That
jump
was
over, and if you see anything do anything, then you just go up and blink for a bit, and
Yeah, I'm getting better at blinking. Uh, that's why I have it there on G.
mm-hmm.
So I have it right there.
Yep.
Ju- I'm I'm trying to get more into using the back shot
Mm-hmm.
skill
Yep.
as well.
And then holding it
So I had
sometimes to
that
stay in the air a little bit.
having the full kit
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, definitely. And the teleport, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it feels like it doesn't add much, but then suddenly there's a situation like, oh, if I had a teleport now, I would have lived, and then you're like,
Well, you always had the teleport now until you're wanting to use it, and then you forgot that
yeah,
to reset it.
exactly. And then you're replacing it where you are. You're like, oh shit, and now here, and now it's there. Yeah, I definitely never had that on the marksman before. Yeah, I think I died twice to that this week. I was like, oh, oops. Yeah. Okay, so that's all. That's all moving along nicely. Because the bossing is one thing is like it is definitely a big measuring stick of to see like where you're at and what you can do. But the other thing is, based on which bosses you're doing and how you're doing them, that'll give you input to your backups and what kind of drops you can even get. Because I mean, the overarching question, and you already wrote it to me as well, is like the big question is, where do you go with your equip progression with everything?
Hmm.
And of course, depending on which bosses you can do and you're actively doing or trying, that will heavily determine where you get backups and what you could possibly do. So when it comes to now, you mentioned for Hard Lotus, you have kind of tried, not really tried. You think you should
I've
be able to?
I tried once,
Mm-hmm.
just practice, and I think I got to phase 3, but then I died out because not used to the extra raining debris.
Yeah.
I joined a hard lotus duo randomly. Some guy was like, "Anybody want to try duo hard lotus?" Like, yeah, fuck it, let's
Mm-hmm.
go. And I survived longer than he did, but then I died out in phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
Still, but I was like, I know I've got the damage at least, and this was well before where I am now.
Okay.
That was, I think that was pre full arcane set.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm right there on the cusp. I just need a little bit more, but all my money's been going into the arcanes, getting the full 5 set
Right.
with no armor boxes.
So you have to buy the whole thing.
I had to buy 3 pieces plus a little extra. I had enough uh, droplets saved from like from Wonksterant,
Mm-hmm.
from the anniversary. Uh, I had, and then all the ones that I picked up from grinding.
Gotcha.
Uh, I had enough for the weapon and the first piece, and then I had to buy pretty much the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 bill for each one,
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Yeah, that's rough.
But I've had 2 weapon boxes now, so I guess I have a chance at like pushing them on Shining, maybe see
Yeah,
where
pushing
they
like a
go.
19 weapon or something. Yeah. That is some good extra weapon attack. What character am I on? Oh, this guy does not have that at all. But yeah, I did that as well. Like push up to 19, then if you get more, even pushing up to 21. Of course, that has more to do with how quickly you're moving towards liberating and all of that stuff. Um, I think most people should probably end up with a 19 weapon before you're liberated. Yeah, but at 21, I
Might
would
go
only
to
do if you're not progressing very quickly and you have a lot of backups. Last event for my both my hero and a marksman, I got to 21 because they had like 4 or 5 backups, and then it's like,
Mhm.
and they're not liberating anytime soon, so like then at least I can bring a 21 star weapon to the party. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of extra weapon attack, so why not give it a go? Okay. So you've tried. Okay, and Yeah, duo. I think duo is fine. The problem is just, of course, it's probably fine to do duo just to practice the mechanics more and get better at it. But a boss fight is very different when you're solo versus when you're with other people, right? You can really, to a high degree, you can control where the boss goes and where they are. When you're soloing, and when you're a duo, you're always just more reliant on someone else. And of course, the big reason is like, why would you even do Hard Lotus and Hard Damien if not for wanting the drops, right? And then if you have a duo partner, you have to
nice
split.
crystal.
Yeah, the crystal. Yeah, but even if you, I think if you're two manning and then the crystal is barely more than if you're soloing normal, and then soloing normal is, 1/8 of the time or something.
Garbage.
So yeah.
I think if I were to full burst in phase 2, I think I can scrape out just under a minute and a half, maybe a minute right now. So. Yeah. It's definitely right there. I'm like right there at the cusp of being able to transition to the hards.
Yeah, and something like 6 job, I think, will definitely push you over the edge to be able to do that. And a little bit more practice will, because a lot of times it's just that, like, have you gone in, have you tried? Because like you said before, like the hand stat is just extremely important, especially for something like Lotus, because there's just so many situations, because there's so many RNG things that can happen. That can, you just have to die to a bunch of things to just figure out, like, okay, don't do that, but do this instead. And
it's so much easier if I had an iframe.
It would be nicer. It would be nicer. You could tank some stuff with your. Do you tend to keep those mirages pretty well, or do they kind of like disappear to random stuff?
So, at the beginning, they definitely just disappear really quickly. But as I get better at the boss, they definitely stick around longer and are there for the oh shit moments. Like you got caught with your pants down.
Yeah. Or you can actually like really jump into something because you have one. And then that's like it sometimes when it comes to the harder boss fights, sometimes it's not about trying to dodge everything, but it's about knowing what you can tank and then actively jumping into that. Because sometimes, if you try to dodge 2 things, you get hit by both and then you die, So sometimes it's better to just only dodge one and jump into another one that you can tank, and then that's a life situation versus a potentially death situation. And if you have one of those charges, then it's all about, jumping. If there's a Demolishizer and a whole bunch of small stuff on the other side, just jump into the Demolishizer instead, because you'll, one of your Guardian Angels will disappear. But if you have 2, then it immediately starts recharging anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, once you lose one, it starts
once you lose the second one, yeah. But if
once
you have 2 when you don't use them, then
50.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're getting nothing. Once you lose the first one, then it starts the timer of 50 seconds to get the next one.
But you're basically just kind of like lifesteal, hurricaning until 2 minutes.
That's what I do in Dark now.
Yeah, and then just slap everything.
Just blood arrow. I don't need it in Gloom, because normal Dark Knell is everything's like really small. Nothing's like made besides the obvious one-hit kill stuff. The big swipe.
Full map, yeah. Oh yeah, the dash one, yeah.
Everything else doesn't do enough to really take those. And then you can just heal everything back. But when everything else has a lot of those one-hit stuff, tornadoes and the tentacles and gloom, stuff like that. So
it's a lot all or nothing.
Isn't even that useful there anyway.
And I guess in Lotus also, because most of the stuff that hits you will then stun you, which is you'd rather just not get hit at all. Okay. Right. Yeah. And then I guess if you're doing Hard Lucid well, because that's also another thing that's going to happen. Like when you're doing the bosses with a group of people, it's cool to stay together. But what's even cooler is actually getting drops. And then if you start splitting up a party, you'll be able to give yourself like double the chance of drops in terms of the pitch stuff, right? Is that something the party's already talked about, or not? You just want to see 6 first?
Really, I mean, we're already talking about splitting up into duos.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Okay.
already done because I already did the one duo of Damien, so I'd split up with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we have like, hopefully we can plan out some time, we can start trying Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it seems like, oh, we're just nuking them
Mm-hmm.
to the point where there's no need for us to even do the duo. Like, it would make the runs faster, but now you're having to share the drops.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So if there's a week when you didn't get to run, you'd be like, oh, let's just do it, just get it over with, and then if you have the time, because that's kind of what I noticed. It's mostly when I started doing, because like Dark Knell is probably one of them. If you start doing like hard Dark Knell, but also once you start doing like Black Mage stuff, that's when you really start noticing that something like Hard Lotus is actually really really easy. But if Hard Lotus is like one of the hardest things that you're doing, I feel like it's hard to progress on it without just running your face into the meat grinder over and over. But of course now, you don't have the entry cooldown, you've got all the practice mode, so you have a lot more tools available now to do that in a shorter amount of time than I did back then. But for me, it was really once you start like getting the hang a little bit more of Black Mage, that suddenly you start feeling like something like Hard Lotus and normal Darkanel and Gloom, the old ones, now they're made a little bit easier. That or quite a bit easier depending on which difficulty, that you'd start noticing a huge difference in like, oh, compared to that, this is actually really easy. So like dialing it up to 11, right?
yeah,
It,
gotta push yourself to grow.
yep, exactly. And are you guys trying to keep the party together for like the Chaos Tenebris stuff then initially, and then maybe towards like Saren and stuff?
I so
Yeah, the
right
Sacred
now,
Power is not there yet.
no, the guild leader, she runs on her Laura, which is 250 around there, so definitely not gonna be pushing forward. She's kind of doing like what you do with your Cannon Master hero and all that, is just pumping that, leaving it right there,
Mm-hmm.
which was great for
Such a
helping the
juiced
rest of
Lara.
us. Like, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't when we started, but uh, just like me,
Mm-hmm.
my character and all that, it's progressed to there.
Okay.
Um, but I think by the time like the rest of us have pushed up to like 270 and all that, we probably look to doing like getting into Black Mage Theron runs on with her main.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Seems like a plan. Okay. And when it comes to yeah, because you were going to talk about it a little bit, but like the drop rate and the meso gear,
I'm still sitting on the what is it, 5 lines meso, 4 line drop.
mm-hmm.
Uh, that's all right there. Oh no, not that one. The one with my inventories.
Oh yeah.
Has all my mesa drop gear.
This one is just the regular damage, and this is the
That's
damage. Oh, I have the same one twice. Whoopsie. This one, yeah, with the backups and everything.
Yep, that one.
All right, how are we looking for backups? 1 belt, nice. Let's hope you need 1. I need it. Well, I've used 6 and I don't have it yet, so or 7 actually.
My only pitch drop, we randomly got it, and it's like, who wants it? It's like, well, it's kind of the worst one.
Might as well take it,
nobody
dude.
wants it, I'll take it.
Yeah,
like,
just
sure.
always take it, because eventually, hopefully, it'll come into play. So if you can have 1 more, then why not? Let me just glance at all the stuff real quick. But yeah, it's just a full 17 arcane, 2-line everything, 2-line WSE. What's the situation with the ID line on like the
I got that randomly.
emblem?
It just happened to roll 13 attack and a line of ID, so it's like, I'll take it. I've been looking at calculators and stuff. I'm sitting at like 97, 98 ID, something like that. So
That's with the fam?
Yes.
It's familiar? Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think I could
Yeah.
easily roll off it.
Hmm.
And that's one of the questions is definitely like, should I go harder on like cube sale, push
Yeah.
the emblem secondary, uh, a lot of the 2-line stuff? Should I push for
Shining event.
mixed lines on? Yeah.
Hmm.
Should I save? Do it? Should I go for a shining? Uh,
Okay. All right. See those backups. So you're starting to print dineros, but that's still gonna take a bit, and that's mostly just for pendants now, right?
yeah. I'm not opposed to the monocle, but that was our second Twilight mark, and so
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, go ahead, take it. So 17 started, made it damage gear. Uh, haven't seen a pap mark ever, so
Yeah, those are
I'd
far in between.
I'd save the narrows, and if I got lucky with
Right.
a pap mark, then
Mm-hmm.
like sure, maybe I can try throwing it at there until I can get a healthy amount of Twilight marks, uh, to try and push the one that I have. Uh,
Yeah, no
yeah.
extra bead marks.
I struggle on freaking item drops. Like
Okay.
I've gotten fairly lucky with star forcing,
Mm-hmm.
but but I struggle at getting those drops. Like, do you see the inventory, all the superiors, the dominators, the Kana treasures?
Yeah.
I only have one extra dominator, and I use that to transpose into the Sweetwater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
No, then
all I've
that this
gotten.
is all of it. Mm-hmm.
That, and then in the top right, there's one it's a Meso gear.
Mezzo,
That's
gotcha.
all I've ever gotten. It's like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, there are some characters lucky in some things and unlucky in some other things. Yeah, that does mean we have to take that into account in terms of the planning, and also
Still
maybe
waiting for the climb
into
range.
maybe trying to go for higher drop rate and or like
Yeah.
drop rate and meso combinations, making those a little bit more aggressive, so you can get more. Because the one thing is definitely like you want to you have your gear, you want to make money, and then you want to put your money to get your stronger damaging gear so that you can boss and then get those really big gears. But if you don't have enough chance to get those drops partially because of your drop rate gear, then you're going to end up with a whole lot of money, enough to really spend it on. And then what
Yeah.
you end up doing a lot of times, what people end up doing is just making really good potentials, which is part of the equation. But then then you're also going to leave more value behind when you do switch over, right? And you're going to get stuck
hmm
on leaving more money behind, and then you can roll over it eventually. Make it like extra dropper gear, extra meso gear. Like a lot of the the damage pieces will get a second life that way, but you will be leaving more value behind there and rolling over more value. So that's not ideal. Um, the current situation for all of so this is all of your damage stuff.
Yeah.
So you got 21
Yeah.
belt
That's
because you had the
all.
backups. You tried to just go on the piece itself, or did you transfer hammer so
That
far?
was a 5, 10, 15 a few months ago, I think, and I got really lucky with I had stockpiled a bunch of pink beam belts,
Mm-hmm.
and it went all the way to 22. It's like, slapped it onto, because I already had the belt, but it's like, screw it. I slapped it on there, made it 21, and redid the potential.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Okay.
and then I've just been stockpiling those. This last 5, 10, 15, I finally got reinforced earrings to go and put it onto superior earring.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have the 21 superior earring, and now it's just trying to save up backups for dominators and kind of treasures for
Yep.
those superior items.
And Meisters, have you looked into that at all?
Uh, I will once we get the new age profession change, because I am way too lazy to try and push Meister right now and then upkeep it every single day.
Okay.
So when they announced those profession changes, like sign my ass up.
Yeah.
I'll wait for that.
Okay. Okay.
That-
Yeah,
so I'll
because that is
save
one way
that.
you can, supplement the worst luck if you have that with kind of treasure, right? So you could basically just make equivalent, and or make a very strong ring, of course, just by itself that can replace a chaos ring or reboot
Yeah,
status
because
ring.
I'm using that because it's what 18 all stat with Meso, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing better uh as far as rings go.
Yeah,
So
it's, of course.
waiting,
Yeah, we're
I'm
not
doing
looking
the
at like
normal
17-star ring to compare it
slime.
to, but we'll make like at least like a 19 or go towards 21.
Hmm.
You've got your CRA there. You've already got like 2 pieces of superior there. Typically, the rings want to go there like in between the CRA and the superior, typically based on like the backups. But yeah, if you don't have the backups, you got to find a way to like supplement that somehow. How are you doing for the resources for the Meisters? Could you craft a few? So you have 11
Uh,
primals.
I know. Yeah, I got 11 primals.
That's a
I've
good amount.
got plenty of the essences. I think I'm at a point where I could probably make a few. I can't remember what all is needed, but I know I can at least make a couple. And I've thought
Philosopher's
about it too with like the.
Stones, Grand Spell Essences,
Mhm.
the primals, and the and just the regular items, I believe, from the NPC is the last one, I think.
Uh,
Oh, Twisted Times. Sorry, yeah, Twisted Times.
oh yeah, I got like 6K of those. Of the Twisted Times, I've got. I think, what's that? 600. The Grand Spell Essence.
Yeah, those are like 150
Yeah.
each, I believe. No, 250, 150, 150. I think 150.
Yeah, I got plenty of those. The 11 primals, a healthy amount of
Yeah,
philosopher stones.
So you can make 4 Grand Spell Essences. Sounds like it's your bottleneck, right?
Yes.
150 each, so you can make 4. Yeah, that's already doubling your ring back or tripling your ring backups, right? Going from 2 to 6. So that suddenly allows you a whole bunch more options. And then I mentioned Sea Slime before because like the slime ring is another one, right? Where it's another item for those slots. Because the main thing I'm looking at is until you're done with done. For some people it's not done yet, but like 21 or superiors, I don't want to go into the reinforced Golix yet. Do you have one of those? Did you buy one, or are you kind of like?
I'm not opposed to it. I haven't. But I definitely could.
Yeah, you got like 1,800, 1,900 coins, yeah, or like 2K around now.
Yeah, if it would be a decent thing, another 17-star damage ring, I could definitely do that.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't really want to look at 17-star damage rings because then that's basically the equivalent of the event rings that you already have. I want it to be an upgrade or not invest in it at all, basically.
Okay.
So you're getting into the area where you basically just need to tap things on Starforce, and they need to be significant upgrades before you start thinking about investing in the potential and maybe in the flame, depending on the piece that it is. And if it doesn't go on Starforce, then you just kind of abandon the project for now, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you're going to boom it later, then again, just like with the accessories, right? All of that value is now sitting in a trace in your inventory, and then boom, bye money. This is not helpful. It'll feel like you're closer, but until the Starforce goes, you're not really closer. So, yeah, send it first on Starforce.
So like, would a 19 be what I'd be looking for, or would I want to go all the way like 21 at minimum?
So that's where the amount of backups comes in, and what the other projects are that you could be doing. So it's very possible that you do like 19 on like 2 or 3 items, and then the next more sufficient part is just go back to one of those 19s and bring it up to 21. So you end up doing it in the same upgrade round if you have enough money and enough backups. But by ordering it properly in terms of like what do you do first and what do you do next, it does give you the ability to be like, okay, what is the price here? What is the odds here? I only have 1 backup left. I might be running low on money. better to just stand here and then wait for the next event or wait until I have more backups. So at that point, you want to look at it in the moment, ad hoc, and see how lucky did I get with this session, because you're going to have some unlucky sessions, you're going to have some lucky sessions, but you want to make sure that once you're on a good streak that you know, quit while you're ahead, as long as the numbers suggest that. And if you're behind, that you don't like stop because everything feels hopeless, but you just keep going as long as the numbers make it reasonable, right? Most of the times I just point towards the calculator and be like, okay, this is the expected cost, this is the expected booms. Some people are more risk averse, so you want to go a bit on a higher end. Some people are pretty risk takers, so they want to go on the lower end. But ultimately, it comes down to looking at the numbers, seeing what makes the most sense for your situation, and then going by that. So if you look at like your total account where you can make the best gains, it's going into like 21-star stuff. So you're just purely looking on, you know, getting those backups. So you want like Twilight Mark backups, okay, ideally like Berserk backups. You're not doing that boss yet. Okay, next best thing, Twilight Mark backups. Okay, you're doing those boss fights already. You want to get into hard will as soon as possible. So, you know, keep practicing normal will, maybe even practice more than just like once a week, right? Maybe do a few more practice runs if people have time, so you can really start moving into hard will, because it's not just the Twilight Mark, it's also the backups for the arcanes. And even though it might seem like it was already so expensive and you barely got into 17 arcanes, going from 17 to 19 arcanes is going to come a lot faster than you think, because you know, once you get the, you know, dependent up and, you know, Twilight Mark, some of those other drops you might just be more time gated, maybe like Superior Golux and Superior Pendant. You know, you're just looking for more Dominators to drop and maybe for more kind of treasure rings. And while you're waiting for that, and you've got, you know, the only thing you could be doing is working on potentials or starting to get your arcanes up to 19. And I don't know if you've how actively you've been in the calculator, but from 17 to 19, you know, it's expensive as hell, right, on arcanes, but it is reasonably risk-free, and it gives you a lot of stat on a lot of weapon attack that you will definitely feel in terms of your damage output, especially if you're trying to start looking towards Black Mage. You probably want to look at most of your stuff being 21, and then your arcanes 17 to 19, like being in that range to meet the damage requirements. Of course, you know, damage penalty is going to go down, right, with New Age, and we're going to add 6 job, so it's not going to be as strict. But especially in the beginning, if you like barely have the damage and you have none of the hands, it's going to feel like it's going to be an uphill battle, right? So every little extra damage you have is going to help you just make that process a little bit more streamlined. So so I would so where are the backups that you can more easily get that you can kind of brute force? So like I would probably do like normal I would heavily look at like normal daily bosses. Oh, one question before all of that. What is your weekly income now in terms of mesos roughly?
So I know I can get, it's about 2.5 to 3 bill on my Bowmaster, and then my Cannon Master and my Hero can go all the way up to normal Lotus and Damien. So that's an extra 1.2 to 1.5 mil for each of them. So anywhere from probably about, I think it's probably about like around 4 or 5 bill. And then if a lot of like
Maple or Ursus, that's like another bill, right? So it's like should get you up to 6.
I definitely been slacking on the Maple Tour. I still have plenty of levels to grind. I'm gonna definitely be training in Mesa Drop Gear when going for the Soul Lerda, so I'm gonna be getting money there as well.
Yep.
Because I know when I was training during Night Troop, I think I was, especially with the back pet, I know I was doing 600 to a bill an hour easy.
So that's like 800 there. So, but it should be pretty doable then, even on like quote unquote, you know, off grinding, that you get about 6 bill a week. So we got close, we could get that up to close to a bill a day. Yeah, because you're looking at the events, because the foundation, if you start taking out, like I would definitely like stay far away from any 22 star projects, right?
No, I'm not
Yeah,
I'm
the
definitely
belt
not one of
went,
those
so you
22
you
over.
just you just tapped it because it was like it was probably on a roll from like 18 to 21 all the way. You're like,
It was.
yeah, it's like oh
It
I
was
can
like
do
I want to get it to 21
yeah.
because I had so many belts. It was like, uh, I'm gonna push it to 22 because I'm gonna transfer it to the superior. It'll be
Hmm.
21, and I can sit on that for damn near
Yeah,
forever.
for a long time. Yeah.
I am
So
not a. I'm definitely more the risk averse. I am definitely
mhm.
not a 22 or boom kind of person.
Okay, okay. So since there's definitely some projects that are going to be way more time gated and rely on backups, so I'm specifically looking at like the Twilight Mark because it's like more Twilight Marks that you're still doing in a party or Berserks that you're not clearing yet. So that's the
Hmm.
one that I think it's going to, on average, probably take the longest to get a backup for. That and Slime Ring because I think are you soloing normal now?
Oh yeah, I can solo normal slime
Yeah,
before
like
the first test.
yeah, super fast, but never fucking drops, right? So you do want to move as quickly as possible into Sea Slime as well and Six Job, and then whatever your configuration of your party ends up being. Um,
And that was the other thing is I know we're still waiting to really get a good idea on all the new age
mhm.
boss nerf stuff like that. It's like how because I know right now Sea Slime is way out of my league, but like but how likely would it be that I could solo post nerf Sea Slime
The
if
post.
if
So
we're
I think the post nerf is not happening like right at. I think it's in New Age, but I think it's like right at the end of New Age, if I
yeah
remember correctly. So we
yeah
should have
I mean I'd
grown
still
into sixth a little bit, maybe gotten closer to 270. I don't like the boss, but a lot of it is because he deals like a lot of constant damage everywhere. Like all the little rocks, all the little duders are constantly dealing a little bit of damage, which always brings you
Mhm.
into kill percentage. But you have the lifesteal arrows that you could do the whole time, so you could like stay topped off the whole time and just tank all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think as a Bowmaster, it might be. So here's what it'll be. I think you'll be able to do it pretty quickly, but it'll be very long runs. But I think in your situation, that's worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause- yeah.
Until I get lucky with between now and then, unless I get super lucky with with a slime ring drop.
Well, there's the whole thing with the slime drop is that if you can get even a few of them, if you can get 3 or 4,
Yeah.
the odds of getting like a 21 out of that is like close to 100%. And then eventually, once 21 to 22 happens, and you've got like 3 or 4 more lying around, you basically got like a guaranteed 22 in your inventory, unless you get very unlucky. But the big value of that is that you don't have to think about dedicating any Gollux coins into getting that. And that's the huge value
Yeah.
that you can bring to your account, because that takes the amount of time gating to get there way down, and that puts a lot less pressure on getting your superior to 22 and being able to buy extra pendants and rings back up there, and gives you more
Hmm.
freedom if you get a source of suffering to go a little bit harder on the pendants there, because the slime ring doesn't need them as much. So we're going to see like a shift in terms of transfer hammering. Like if you looked at it about 6 months ago, every single slime ring that gets like high stuff for slime ring was, or 6 months or longer ago, was always transfer hammer to superior in there, right? Because it was just too risky. But now,
Hmm.
because chaos slime is going to be so much more accessible to everyone, you almost don't. It's almost a waste at that point to do it, because you're just like giving away a few weeks. Is it like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of daily Gollux almost, or daily Helix, right? And then you're slowing
Hmm.
down your 22s and your possible source later, which that source could eat up easily like 2 to 3,000 coins if you just don't get lucky on your transfers, right? And if you
Yeah.
do have a lot of coins, it also gives you the liberty to go 22 to 21 transfer on every single source tap, rather than having the tap at 20 and back up to 22, because by the time you get a source, it's going to be 22 or nothing again, right? To go back to what
Hmm.
I said before, it's going to be like it has to go on the Star Force, or you don't even look at it at all. And at that
Yeah.
point, as
No,
weird as it is,
yeah,
yeah.
because you're strong enough that you can beat those bosses, and
Uh-huh.
so it's not like you're looking for
You're not
that
starving for the
extra
damage. You
damage.
only want to dedicate all of your resources if you know for sure it's going to be a significant
Yeah.
enough update. And you're going to be like, you don't want to, possibly you're going to blow up like a 21 source and it's going to be like, whatever. Like, I didn't have it, so I know I have the damage for the bosses anyway. It sucks, and I was close, but, whatever. But if you compare it to now,
Mm-hmm.
you're still like in the event ring territory, and that's definitely where you want to see most of the progress. So I would focus on just getting as many backups as you can, because you will give yourself more options, and the game will automatically tell you like this is where you need to push. If you keep doing your dailies and you do all your weeklies and you still end up with like 3 dominators and that's it, then you can try that. But if at the same time you also have like 7 black beam marks, well then it's very obvious looking at your account what the next move is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have one Twilight Mark backup, you could definitely try 19. But then what do you do at 19? Do you keep going when you have one backup? Because what if that one doesn't go? Then your new one has to stop at 17 again, right? Now you need multiple as a backup. So that's when the other situation could be like, okay, you have 2 Twilight Marks, one is at 17, is already upgraded. Maybe you just try to tap the other one all the way to 21. If it goes to 21, you could be like, okay, now I could tap my existing one. If that one doesn't go, invest in the other one. If it does go, you can even try to tap the other one to 22. Or you can be like, now have a strong drop or meso piece, and I can just work on its potential. Right? That's when you can have the other value of doing a thing on the side. So, for example, if you were in your belt situation, where you made a 22 reinforced, and your current belt was probably 17 star with like 2-line legendary, I assume. If you have another belt, what you could also do is just put the 22 reinforced into a completely clean belt and get that one to 21, and then think, because then you could either work on the potential, which you would have to do anyway, right? From
22.
Exactly, or tap it to 22. If it doesn't go, you can stay with your original belt. If it does go, now you could just equip the new one, and you don't even have to worry about your existing belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you, by what seems like it's a bit more wasteful, but it actually ends up being more. You always want to look at like basically make like a little bit of a decision tree with like a flow chart, right? Like what happens if it works, what happens if it doesn't work, and then try to pick what gives you the most value overall in terms of the returns overall. So like with your superior ring right now, for that you'd have to buy an extra one to transfer. Some people buy one ahead of time if they have enough coins, because then they could be like, okay, let's see, I don't need this other one. Well, then I could just still transfer over this one and then maybe make it go into a slime, so it's never a waste, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have that as a backup. But since the belt is just a belt, you want to use the amount of backups you have to save you money. Essentially, having more backups means you can do it cheaper, right? Because you either don't have to safeguard or you don't have to transfer over, on average, and that will save you money. So that's why the backups is just so important, because that'll show you where you can cut corners and where you can't. So with your income, in total, if you look at it, so take a whole step back into your entire account, the weekly income is definitely something that if that stays where it is, then you're going to have to be just getting an insane amount of backups and be much more risk aversive. If you could increase, it's almost like a Caleb Hammer thing. If you can get like a side job and you increase the money that you're making, then you could start making a whole lot more projects. The amount of time on average that it will take you to get those projects finished on average will shrink down a lot. If you do find more characters that would be like bossing mules that you could maybe consider playing.
The Thunderbreaker will turn into one.
Thunderbreaker will add for sure.
Dawn Warrior will eventually get there. And there's a few others that are right there at the 200 range that I could easily do. Marksman was a pretty easy one. I can turn that into a boss meal, stuff like that, eventually. But I know the Thunderbreaker is gonna, once it gets done with the hyper burn, or at least hits 250, it'll be pretty much right there, ready to go.
Yeah.
At least doing 4-door. 4-door plus.
So then the things that for now I would focus on is probably some 19 Star Force stuff and some potential stuff, and then still like as a foundation. How much money do you have right now?
I'm sitting on roughly, I think it's about 19, 20,
Okay,
18 to 20 bill.
I was gonna guess about 20. Okay, because that makes sense because that's about 3 weeks of saving everything up a little bit more because you spend a little bit here and there. So when it comes to the potential, I would look into the Meister rings. I would try to get that to 19. Kind of treasure, get that to 19. They should be reasonably doable. And try to get the pendant up to 19. So that means that for those things, make sure you maximize on getting backups, right? So always Princess No, always normal arc every day, right? And the dineros, as much as you can. You could just slam the dolces, right? Get a whole bunch of dineros, like almost 50 a day. Even if you don't CPQ, you can get like a backup pendant more than one a week. So that's or more than one a week. 750. No, it's 400, right? So a little bit more than like every 10 days or something. Yeah. 9 to 10 days. And maybe even consider just for Pink Bean, just to do normal Pink Bean daily, just to tick that up into rotation.
Maximize the chance of that black bean mark drop.
Yeah, and also just take more value because you're going to use like a drop rate coupon, right? Like a 10-minute drop rate coupon. And you're not going to need nearly 10 minutes for Arc and
Gollix.
Yeah, Arc Helix, Pink Bean, and who else? Wait, there's one more. I'm forgetting one now. And Arc, Gollix. Mentioned first. Yeah, never mind. No, I think we got it. Okay.
Probably like Princess No.
Yeah, but that's a weekly, so that shouldn't be in there. In my brain.
Okay.
What do I do? Yeah, I do Helix and Arc, yeah. So you might as well just add that into it because you've got time left over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think like getting a Black Bean Mark to 19, that would also be something I'd have on the list so that you have, stronger ring, extra ring. For the 4th slot, I would just look towards Slime Ring. So, I would look as much as possible towards Sea Slime parties. But yeah, either just solo normal or look for a very small Sea Slime party. But I think mathematically, even a 6 people Sea Slime party gets more rings on average per person than a normal solo. So you're really looking at that boss more in terms of the progress for your ring rather than the crystal money. Unless it's the last day of the week.
Yeah.
But ideally, with the changes and everything, you can get into a 2 or 3 man party, and then as everyone gets better and stronger, you can eventually start soloing that. But for now, that's like the future for the ring. And of course, ring boxes and everything. So if you're lucky in the meantime, you can get an Oz ring, then that one can fill your 4th slot. That means that there's pressure off of the slime ring needing to go immediately, and then you can go for a little bit of a longer term approach there in terms of how you're gonna progress on that. But yeah, so 1919. 1919, that's basically those 4. If you can get Twilight Mark back up, then that would be another 19, but other than that, I would look at just those 4 for now, and then maybe the weapon, right? Since you have the 2 weapon backups, you could try to do that one. It's a bit more expensive, so before the weapon, I'd probably look more at the potential, so I would like divide it into 2 things. When it comes to the secondary, I'm a huge proponent of just making a secondary on the side. I don't know if you have...
I do have one.
You have a unique one or something, right?
It's sitting at legendary.
I've been
throwing a lot of my free cubes into it.
Yeah.
If I have any like leftover cubes from doing other stuff, I've just been like, maybe it'll hit something.
Yeah.
I haven't dedicated or anything.
Yeah, that's a good thing to.
Something.
No, that's a
like
good thing
really
to keep doing.
On the cube sale, stuff like that, versus like saving for like a shining. Though I know that one's kind of out of there since I'll be looking for those backups.
Well, for 3-line, you're looking at like outs with like boss and damage combinations, right? Yeah. So to look at those 19s, how expensive those all are, but you'll probably be happily surprised that those are on average not that expensive at all. But yeah, get Meister, those things, and then focus on all of those backups for dailies. And weeklies, of course, regular weeklies, keep doing those. The main focus, I would say, for the cube sale will be, 1, to just get the emblem, because you can rearrange the hyperstats a little bit to get quite a bit more value, I think, out of the ID there. going a little bit out of the boss damage and a little bit more into the IED. Maybe just like one level out would already give you 2 levels into the IED, just to fill up the gap a little bit from the emblem losing the line. But I only look at that after you reroll the emblem, right? Because if you hit 21 attack with 30 IED, but of course you keep that, so then you don't need to change anything. But focus on the emblem, and you gave the legendary emblem to someone else, right? So you don't have a second emblem for this one, right?
No, I gave it to the Thunderbreaker.
The Thunderbreaker, yeah, okay. No, that's fine. Yep. It is something, though, to think about, just like you can do with the secondary. That's a lot of extra value, so you don't have to run black cubes or just run infinitely until you get your damage back. An emblem in the future, having one extra on your account so you can do that as well, just like with the secondaries, might be more valuable to you than getting a legendary one, because that's basically just saving you 1 bill.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another way of looking at like the value of those items for the future. Not saying that this was a bad decision or anything, but as long as you're looking at your entire account and what the future for certain characters is, something can be reduced to a bill, and then another point, if you're looking at spending 30, 40, 50 bill, then 1 bill just completely fades in comparison to that in terms of the utility that it could give you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would focus on the emblem first, at getting at least 2 lines of attack. If you get 2 line attack and a line of crit, or a line of damage, or a line of stat, or any IED or something like that, that would be great. But just focus on 2 line attack. And then after that, I'll probably focus on your drop in meso gear and try to get more like hybrid boys going, because you want your total drop rate to go up. You want your backups to come in faster. You want your soul Urda to be coming in faster, and you don't want to necessarily. At this point, you don't want to have to sacrifice any of your meso obtain, because of your limited amount of boss mules at this moment. Once you have like 6 or 7 or 8 of those guys running around, then you can, for every next character that pushes any further, you can kind of go down on the meso obtain for sure and just focus on the drop rate. Just that, maybe get like 1 or 2 lines of meso, whatever, but like focus on drop rate. But for now, since this guy is still bringing in the lion's share of the money, not just through bossing but also through the training, you do want to keep that up. So I would look at like black cubing and just any combination, right? Because you're gonna have good damage with Grandis, and the arcane power is gonna come out. It might be a little bit hard in the beginning because you don't have like a whole bunch of 19 and 21 star stuff, but they all have some flames, and you got some set bonus coming in, so you're probably going to lose some decks, but you don't have too much right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some offset here. Yeah, so look at like just double drops, double mesos, drop meso combinations, and whenever you just see anything double, then you start building the kit around that and start looking at ideally towards 100 meso and 200 drop. One thing to think about is that you may want to look at the pendants a little differently because of the spirit pendant, in terms of how you want to do with the coverage on that. So maybe you don't rely on 2 double lines from pendants, maybe just 1, and then the other one you just switch on when you're bossing, when you're doing your weeklies, for example, before you open the box, something like that.
Yeah.
That's
I know
something to think about, yeah.
when I was training with the spirit pendant, now I was just equipping enough drop to hit 80 with holy symbol.
Yeah.
And then everything else was all meso, so I was getting at least the max for the
that's fine.
The backdrops.
Yeah, because you're just losing like a few nodes. Who cares, right? That's at this point that's not that valuable. But if you're losing any kind of gains on Soul Urda, and that's how I'm looking at the gains of the backups as well. Like you're losing progress in terms of the backups. It's not that big of a deal, but it's like if you have like 0.98 of a drop and you don't have 1, then you have 0 drop, right? It's like so binary. You could be really close to a drop every single time, but if you're super close every time, then you have 0. And just it makes it so much longer before you get those drops. And since you don't have as many backups, you'll feel like you need to make decisions in a more suboptimal situation, and then on average you spend more money that you don't have as much of, and then it's like a double. It just holds you back so much, right? So in terms of the efficiency, I would look for, I would aim for something like if you can get 5 lines of meso and then 7 or 8 of drop, something like that. That would be a way healthier situation. And you should see, not immediately like boom, everything starts dropping, but over like a few months, you should see more backups here and there. Some more kind of treasuring, some more, dominators. Those are always rare.
Yeah.
Let's not hope for
Yeah.
those too much, but maybe, especially once you start doing sea slime, some slime rings, here and there, and just more event items, more just items dropping, more familiar cards. If you decide to do that. And then that'll also feel more rewarding, if you're like, okay, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to sit kind of like AFK in a map with like weaker monsters and watch some anime and maybe get some familiars. Then you'll just see more of those as well. And then a bossing familiar is also just more realistic because it's really just a numbers game in the end.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just mainly focused on just doing what's fun for you. So like, if you want to work on the main, you want to work on the 6th job at that point, then you just grind that out. If you feel like, doing a half hour to an hour of that is more than enough, and then you want to help your entire account, then the Legion is in a fine position. So I'd purely be looking at like, what is the next bossing mule, or like doing a little bossing here and there. And yeah, as you get more bossing mules going, the whole trickle down waterfall of resources will just start flowing into the next one and flowing into the next one, and before you know it, you got like a level 215 or so with doing some monster park, and then suddenly you have like a unique weapon secondary and emblem, and you already have CRA on it. It's like, oh, I can actually like 4-door and HMAG very easily, and it's like boom, there's like 400 mil, and yeah, that's kind of how the ball starts rolling and keeps rolling. The next big project after that will be like, getting all your 21s and getting all your superiors to 21. So that'll be transfer hammering. And it should be slime ring at that point, right? And all the rings to 21. If you gotta make stuff to 21 and they're also transfer hammer food, so like kind of treasure and meister and stuff, make sure that you keep the 21 first as itself. And then if you have enough money to make another one that you're not using, then that one can be the one that transfers over. Yeah, so then, by Black Mage stuff, and then 19 Arcanes, it's something you're looking at, right? So if you get a box near an event, keep it as a box, so you have it as universal backup. If there's no event near, and you have a lot of money, so for you that won't be anytime really soon, but when you get to the point where you have enough money and there is a box, you could always just try off event, because then there's a lot of value in that box, right?
Yeah, definitely can go.
Even if you can get a bunch of 18s out of it, then like a few 18s and maybe 119 out of it, then, or the first one booms and then you're like, oh well, I tried.
Yeah. But yeah, so definitely think about the.
If you have cubes left over, it always, the general order of like what to cube, right? Like where you get the most value for it back.
Remind me.
So like the heart and you don't have a badge, but the heart and badge have the least amount of junk lines. So they will on average give you the best return. After that is the accessories. And after that is basically all the items except for the CRA gear, and then the CRA gear, like dead last essentially. If you have some black cubes left over, if you're working on that for your accessories, you could try for the gloves, right? To see if you can hit double crit damage. But remember, if you hit crit damage and 20 dex or crit damage and 23 dex, that could be as good or almost better than double line crit damage. So if you have that, don't like keep going for double crit, but like move on to another thing. Maybe, try on a secondary, or try on an emblem, or maybe on the weapon or something like that. Or anything that's like, like 18% kind of thing, like, because the accessories are pretty high up. So if there's like an 18% thing, that could go up to 21 pretty quickly. Yeah, you're gonna just like the full actual cube sale and like fully going hard on cubing is going to be like one after that. But for cubing, I'm usually okay with just doing that stuff more off event. But I would do that after you have most of your stuff at 21, then really circling back to the potentials and doing a whole bunch of like 24ing, 27ing, 30ing, 33ing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you want to spend more money after that, then you look more on the flames essentially. That's when the flames more come in, and that's when you start thinking about like either 22ing or 21ing arcanes. But again, that's purely income based and whether your account can manage that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll do some short and sweet, good efficiency, but not too much on the star forcing, mainly because of lack of backups. And then set yourself up better with a bit more damage on the emblem and better drop rate and mezzo so you can get more backups for the future while working a little bit on bossing mules and bringing up the overall income for the account. And then with those, hopefully like a next event, you'll see more backups, you'll see more opportunity in what your account has available, and that will, shine the path a little bit more clearly on what you obviously want to be working on and what is otherwise too high risk.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. So always, whether you make upgrades or not, but like keep testing on which bosses you're doing, duo, solo, whatever. When you have a little bit of time, you don't really feel like grinding stuff out. Just go into a boss, solo mode, practice mode, and just kind of, run your head into the wall and kind of see, did you make some progress? Are you actually stronger? Because it's also good to know, especially once you get to C10A, what your boss rotation, like how much damage can you actually do in a burst, right? Especially with Gloom, like when is he open, can you get to the next interval? Because then sometimes it's better to hold a little bit of damage, or sometimes it's better to jump into the balls, force the darkness, maybe a little bit sooner so you can get out, right? That's like a little bit more of the higher level stuff where you can make the boss fight a lot easier for you once you got the basics down to give yourself more space to breathe, like make sure that you're bursting, you can actually get the burst off,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, 6 Job will change a bunch of stuff, open a bunch of stuff. I'll try to keep all the commands and stuff up to date, and feel free to yell at me if you're like, okay, this is really outdated now, this is horrible, this needs to be redone. Feel free to yell at me.
I'm sure Richard will be right on top of that.
Yeah, Richard will definitely, he will put a megaphone in front of his face and be like, hey, someone said something, make sure. It'll definitely help out with that for sure. Okay, I think that covers most of your questions, right?
Yeah. That's definitely a good. That's a definitely good. Like I can move forward from here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some new goals to work towards. Definitely. 'Cause I know I can save a bit for the for like a shining or a 5 for the next 5, 10, 15. Definitely push the like the Gollix ring, stuff like that. Cube Sale, I can definitely focus on getting those, getting the Mesa drop hybrid lines, and
Wait, did you say Gollix ring?
yeah, they got the reinforced ring.
Yeah, so I would
like 19. Or...
Yeah, it could, but I would go for the Meister for now because you have those resources. I would kind of keep the resources of the. So
the Gollix stuff.
Yeah, for the superior Gollix because they're just so much more expensive. And I wouldn't want to cut into that. And it's basically once you're like looking at like tapping rings from 21 to 22 or something, then
then circling back.
Yeah, then you could circle back, and then also if it does go and you end up with an extra ring, either you have a really good, stronger drop or mezzo ring, or if something goes wrong with the superior or with the slime, God forbid, and you don't have enough backups, then you won't feel as bad putting a Meister or a Kana treasure as a transfer, like as a fodder ring essentially to bring a superior back up. But for the reinforced, that'll feel a little bit worse at that point.
Okay.
So if you do end up with an extra one, there's always going to be position for them.
All right. Yeah. So definitely. Okay. So definitely holding out all that for the profession change.
Yeah.
And get the Meister ring. Okay.
Yeah. You can slowly get started, of course. Like as long as you craft anything like within 24 hours, it'll keep building up, right? Because it'll take a few days anyway. You got enough materials lying around? You got your.
I got plenty of materials. I could definitely. I need to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on grinding. You're definitely not focusing on mining.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
like
yeah, I completely.
the lower level items, like when you get to craftsman, you can make the eye accessories or face. Is it face? No, it's eye accessories. I think those give a lot of exp, so that can definitely help you get from
Mhm.
craftsman to meister. But yeah, we got the own command for that one, so
Yep.
that's fine. All right.
Alrighty.
So
But yeah, I feel a lot better moving forward. I don't feel like I'm more lost or just in
mhm.
a, oh, just save everything and don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I can do better moving forward and
Mhm.
hopefully see some definite steps forward.
Exactly. Yeah,
'Cause-
it's mostly saving, but I do want you to get some of those like short-term victories and some short-term gains that are relatively cheap, so you can still feel like you're moving forward, even though you're not spending all of the money. And
Mhm.
then building a more solid foundation with the drop and meso stuff, so that the next events you'll just be able to make huger gains even than now, just to make sure they
Oh,
stay efficient, right?
yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I guess so a good shout out to the Nightlight, not Nightwish, but
Yep.
the Nightlight
Nightlight, the
Guild. Keep
guild,
going.
definitely helping out with getting into the boss parties.
Mm-hmm.
Always recommend anybody listening find a guild that's a progression guild because they'll probably be easy to help out. Shout out to Zykur. Gotta give that out. Tell him to get his ass onto his Kaiser. That
Yes.
way. I already shouted you out, Richard. Calm down. uh,
Mentioned multiple times.
uh,
People are shying.
and definitely, I don't know if he'll be watching, but definitely shout out to Josh. He was my duo partner. Definitely, we're always
Nice.
in chat when we're bossing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and shout out to my girlfriend who's allowing me to play Maple quite often and tell it, and so that way she can get her butt in gear to start playing more.
Okay.
That way she can start we can do like duos and stuff.
Nice. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. And then nobody can yell at each other for playing because it's like, well, it's because we want to make the duo better. It's like, oh, damn, you're right.
Exactly.
And you have a good excuse. All right. Well, yeah, I wish you the best of luck with all the short term and the midterm upgrades, of course. And I hope that the sixth job is everything you wanted it to be and more, so that you can start soloing those harder bosses without too much trouble. And
Yeah.
well, I'll yeah, I guess I'll just see you around in chat.
Yep. Though definitely and I'll be sure to play many of terrible songs on request days.
Oh yes, yeah, I've been noticing those Infernal Ginger requests. They've been
well,
creeping
well,
up.
you got to remember it was Zyker who did the Toad one.
Oh yes, I don't mind. The
Of
chat
course
hated
he
it.
did.
Everyone wanted to get it skipped, but I don't mind. I love Toad.
I
That's my
loved it.
yeah. Is that in the and all the cat? You're not doing all the cat ones, right? That's not you.
No,
The bongo
no,
cat. Yeah,
I don't do the bongo
you
ones.
don't do the bongo. Okay, that's someone else who's guilty of all of that stuff. Okay. But yeah, I'll see you around the chat, and if there's anything, you always know
Yep,
where to find me. So I'll
definitely.
talk to you then.
Thank you.
All right, you're
Yep, it's
welcome.
been a big help.
Yes. Okay. See ya.
Yep.
All right. So hopefully, if you're in a similar situation, I'm expecting a lot of you to be in a similar situation. Maybe not quite level 266, maybe a little bit further, maybe not quite as far. Probably the latter there. But it is very easily to kind of just some stuff pops up and you just keep on going, and suddenly you're like, where do I go from here? There's like so many different paths. It doesn't feel right to try to make some 21 stars when I have like one or maybe two backups. That seems like too risky to fail. Do I wait forever until I have more backups? How do you get your money up, right? It's always a balancing act between all of those things. So hopefully this session gave a little bit more insight on how much you spend on the foundation of getting your backups, how much you can spend on getting your income, where you want to be at with bossing mules to make sure that those expensive upgrades that come later in the game, that you can make those in a reasonable amount of time and you don't have to wait for months and months to wait for the resources to be able to do them. Because what happens when you wait for months and months and then you don't make the upgrade, which can always happen with RNG, it'll feel really bad, like you haven't made any progress and you've just been playing for months, right? We want to avoid that. We want to make sure that we get those guaranteed gains and that we don't spend a whole lot of time and resources on inefficient upgrades just because we need to feel an upgrade, because we need to feel progress, right? So if this is something that helps you, I'm very glad. If you have a similar or a completely different situation, let me know. I do these coaching sessions for people. You can basically just buy my time and I will help you out. If you want to talk about just a specific boss fight and you just want to break that down and do bosses together and figure that out, you can do that as well. Whatever you want to get into, I'll just follow your lead and try to help you out and support you as best as I can. People who are subscribed over at Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. That's where I stream every day. You guys can also just request the sessions. This was one of the sessions that was just requested with the channel points that you get just for watching the stream. So if you're subscribed and you watch the stream often, you just basically can redeem them for free. Or if you want to get them even cheaper, what you can do is leave a comment on the YouTube video saying that you would like to win one of these sessions. Please include your Discord name so I can reach out to you. And 2 of your lucky devils will get drawn at the end of the month. And I will reach out to you and you'll get a free session that we'll just plan together. So if that's something that interests you, don't forget, make sure to do that. And that reminds me, I don't think I've pulled the winners for October yet. I'll look into that. I will look into that. With all that being said, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for checking it out. And I'll see you either on the next video or over at twitch.tv/Scardor. And then you can be in the chat there in the top left, flipping you off right now, or maybe flipping yourself off in the future when you watch the video on YouTube. So who knows? You might be doing the flipping and the flipped offing. But yeah, see you over on Twitch or on YouTube. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.